Hello one and all, and welcome to Behind the Glass, your weekly automotive podcast hosted by two rather uninformed enthusiasts.
No.
I'm Sam from the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass.
I'm Tony from Gravelwood Car Sales.
And you can watch us each week. We hope you enjoy the episode. This is our final show of 2024.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this is our final show.
You wish. You were like, I'm done with this. What a waste of time.
Next year.
Yeah, we will be back.
Yeah, we're coming back.
We'll be back. 2025. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of us that easily. We'll be back. And you know, well, should we tease this? There are new new shows, new formats coming next year.
Yeah.
Where there's going to be more content.
Yeah.
I guess that's all we should say for now. Don't worry, these weekly Thursday car chat episodes are going nowhere. These will remain. But Behind the Glass is going to expand and there's going to be new formats and additional content. That's exciting, isn't it? A bit more work for us.
Loads more work for us.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Sign us up. But yeah, this is sadly the final show of the year. We're taking quite an elongated break this Christmas. We always take a bit of time off, but this one's going to be a bit longer. So
it's only like another week though, mate. Just a bit. We normally definitely have 2 weeks off.
We normally have a couple of weeks, but this is basically going to be a month.
Are we nearly a month?
Yeah, well, this goes out on the 6th of December, and I think our first show back, is on the 9th of January, I think.
But that's all right, mate, because
people are busy at Christmas. They don't want to listen to us.
I don't think they want to listen to us full stop. But we do this every single week.
Yes, we do.
50 weeks a year.
Yeah, you know.
So it's nice to have a little break for us, and you probably want a little break as well.
Yeah, I think more so. It's not about us, Tony. It's about the people.
Yes, it is.
Let's give everyone's ears a rest. So we will miss you, but yeah, we'll be back in the new year. And as I say, there's going to be a lot because we're going to have to be unveiling the new tours business in all its splendor, which will happen very early in January. We have these new formats. Patreon is coming back.
Yep.
I don't think the merch is going to be ready, but it's going to be close. So it's going to be a big old January. So lots to look forward to. But we're going to wrap things up today with a little bit of car news and maybe just reflecting on our year. But I want to start with an official response from Porsche to last week's episode.
Have you ruined your relationship with them?
Yeah, I got a long message. In case you missed it.
They didn't blame me?
Well, no, actually, because I was the one that broke the story.
Good.
If you watched last week's episode, I alleged that Porsche were going to be putting engines in the Taycan and the Macan, and scrapping the electric Cayman and Boxster.
Yeah,
I will repeat, that information came from a really good source, like a, proper. And actually, Porsche were like, "Who told you this?" And I was like, "Someone from Porsche." Do you know what I mean? That's. I'll say that. I don't want to dob my source in, but it was a Porsche employee who told me this information.
Right.
And as I said to Porsche, I spoke to a few media people. And said "Oh, have you heard?" And people were like, yeah. No one went, "No way." Everyone acted like they also knew. So anyway, I got overexcited.
All right, so is it true, yes or no?
Well, okay, here is the official... I said, by the way, full disclosure, I do have an amazing relationship with Porsche, which won't surprise anyone to hear. They are fantastic. They're very forthcoming, super chatty. This is all over WhatsApp. So this is not a formal written letter, a cease and desist. We're not ending the show early because we're now going into a legal battle with Porsche. So it's all very funny. But look, here is the official statement on our strategy moving forward. Porsche continues to focus on a flexible drivetrain strategy. During the transformation phase from pure combustion engines to whatever the future will look like, it is very important to have a flexible range of drivetrains because the framework conditions continue to change and the different regions of the world develop at different speed. So, for example, let's face it, in the deepest, darkest depths of Morocco and the Sahara Desert, an electric Macan is not going to be a vibe, even though I know someone who's going to drive an electric Macan in Morocco, I think right now. So that's a bit of a rogue reference. Anyway, the change to electric cars is taking longer than we assumed 5 years ago. So we are therefore taking a very close customer-oriented look at how we are positioning our portfolio. For specific model lines, such as the Cayenne, for example, our customers will be able to choose between efficient combustion engines, powerful plug-in hybrids, and then an all-electric model in the 2030s. In recent years, the product strategy has been configured to ensure that in the future, all 3 powertrain variants will be available in every Porsche segment. And by that, we mean that, for example, for sports cars, you've got combustion and hybrid in the 911, and then battery electric in the Cayman and Boxsters. For SUVs, you've got combustion engine and hybrid in the Cayenne, and then you've got electric in the Macan. And then for saloons, you've got battery electric in the Taycan and combustion engine in the Panamera. So that was kind of where they're at. So I basically said, like, cool, I get it, but are you saying that you will never switch that up? It won't be that the Macan is the hybrid car and the Cayenne is the electric. So at this point, as far as I understand it, there is no way to put engines in the platform, in the electric Macan or Taycan platform. As far as they understand, that's the word from the top is that. And they do still believe officially that the Boxster Cayman electric is due around 2026. That's as far as they're aware. Like, you know, and of course, like, this is all information that is passed on and passed down. And, you know, these are my contacts. Maybe we caught wind of a board level decision, but Porsche are being pretty emphatic with, you are wrong. I don't know who told you this information. I'm sorry if it came from us in some weird way, but it is incorrect at the time of recording.
The only thing I'd say with that statement, fair enough, but I'd pick a couple of holes in that, being that they were really concentrating on electric stuff. So saying that they were doing like model ranges and engines and stuff for, doing diverse, maybe they are now, but they weren't. There was a period where, everything was, we're going electric. Mate, I went to... I went to a showing, I can't remember, with Porsche, dealer showing. I can't remember what car it was now.
That's useful.
It was a couple of years ago, but sure. They were so hell bent on telling everyone in the room that all the new cars are going to be electric. Like, they were literally saying, this is going to be electric, this is going to be... There was no mention of combustion at all.
Yeah, as I say, I have to take their word for it.
Of course.
As of right now, they are telling me that we are wrong, and that they are not going to be putting engines or hybrid powertrains in the existing Taycans and Macans. I agree that based on that statement, I think anything could change. I think that's what they're basically saying. Is that they're reviewing everything. Their plan is to offer a variety of options, and this is their current strategy, but it's all up in the air depending on what happens. So I am going to leave it on the never say never.
Yep. Yeah, it's very open, that statement. It is a very...
But as of right now,
as we speak
officially, we can now confirm, because everything last week was allegedly.
Yeah.
So now officially, apparently we were wrong.
Yeah.
So,
but then tomorrow we'd be right. No, because that's just... But that literally just...
Well, if in June 2025 a hybrid Taycan gets launched, I will be raging. At that point, we'll be pulling Porsche into the podcast for an in-depth analysis. But yeah, so I don't think I'm going to apologise. Should I apologise?
No,
I don't think I need to apologise. No. And great for Porsche for being on it and being honest and having a chat.
But so they should be, mate.
Yeah,
well, by the way.
You know what was funny as well? I was like, don't worry, guys, no one listens to our podcast. And they were like, no, we've had journalists calling us asking about this because they heard you talk about it. And I was like, oh, there's more than 3 people. Anyway, so
we just thought our mums listened.
Genuinely, that's why I was like, I'll just launch in with this because no one really listens to our show.
No one cares.
So, anyway, apart from some handful of amazing fans. Right, well, aside from us trying to stir the pot or unsuccessfully stirring the pot, I don't really know what we were doing. Much bigger things have been happening in the car world. Largely, Jaguar finally revealing some form of automobile.
Yep. I'd say a barge.
Wow. Yeah. So obviously we touched on the, what do you call it, controversy around their rebranding advert?
Well, depending on what way you look at it,
Furore? Is that the right word? You don't know what that word means, do you?
I
don't think I do either.
They created a stir.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm just going to see, what does furore mean?
You cannot say something. I know you're privately educated, but you cannot say these words and then go, oh, actually, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, but that's how I live the word. That's how I live my life. I just launch in.
Just pile in.
Yeah, thinking like this is going to be, be roughly what it is.
You spent way too much time around me, mate. You just pile in with all these words and you literally don't know what you're going on about.
An outbreak of public anger or excitement. I smashed it, mate.
All right, well...
Furore. The furore. Oh, my word of the day. The furore around the Jaguar rebranding ad.
Cut a long story short.
A little teaser for the merch right there. I think we sort of said that basically our frustrations lay in, well, there's no car. So, like, there's a lot of fanfare, a lot of, opinions, and then no actual car. Now we got a car. Well, we don't.
We got a concept.
We have a design study.
But but design studies don't normally tend to be too far away from the production car.
Yeah, I think usually I couldn't care less about a concept car. Well, that's a lie. That's a lie, because like your Mission X, we did a whole chapter on that, and that was a similar kind of thing, wasn't it?
Where's that gone?
Well, that was a concept design study thing. Same thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a production vehicle, was it?
No, that's not here, is it?
Should we message Porsche again?
I don't think they're going to reply, mate.
before we get in trouble. No, we don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, it's an electric concept. That was a concept. So yeah, actually, that's a lie.
Yeah.
I don't like concepts. But this, for me, well, it's interesting. Okay, talk to me, Tony. You saw this revealed. What did you think?
Well, luckily, it was revealed at 1 a.m. So I was where I should have been, in bed asleep. And I
Not
picked
working?
up. No, I was asleep actually that day. But normally I'm still awake working.
Selling cars.
Yeah. But I picked up my phone and it was on bloody BBC News or whatever. And luckily I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't see it in all its glory until I put my glasses on. And I just saw a pink blur and a blue blur. And I didn't really know what to make of it. What I did make of it was, as you suggested or said to me, is that they are going real high end. The Jaguar of yesteryear, of trying to mass produce stuff and competing with the Germans, although they might compete with different kind of German car, but they're going real high end, and it almost can look like a modern Bentley or a modern Rolls Royce, which I assume that's what they're going after.
I think exactly that. For me, it looks like a sort of phantom coupe, or like it looks like something from the 1930s or 40s, from the side profile.
Yeah.
And what's quite interesting is I sort of watched a few of the people who made content around this vehicle saying that when you walked in the room to see it, it was displayed side on. That was, for Jaguar, the most important way, or that was the initial impact they wanted you to have, was to see it side on. And if you see a side image, it is a very classic looking shape, and it's got sort of elements of E-Type, I suppose, but also like, big old Rolls Royces and Bentleys. It's just got that old school, like big sort of, mega coupe shape. We know that the first car is not going to be a sort of fixed head coupe, two-door coupe like this. It's going to be a saloon, supposedly on a similar kind of wheelbase kind of setup. So, proportionately, we can start to understand maybe what it's going to look like. And there were some spy shots of theoretically the vehicle testing, and it didn't look quite like this, but there was some similar shapes.
Yeah. So it's a Mulsanne or Bentley Spur competitor, that sort of thing.
You would think so, but copy nothing, or what's the famous line that they keep reusing? But
copy nothing.
It's going to theoretically impact us in a way that maybe a Cybertruck did, or it's going to supposedly look, something not dissimilar to this.
Yeah.
I mean, take the sketch aside, because that's from the side profile, it is a sketch. It's a designer's sketch, I think. The rest of it, I think, is pretty I don't really like the rest of it, but it's still a design concept. So it's no production car is going to look like that. So and also I'm a bit like, it's not one to buy. And do you not feel like we often say on this show, if it's going to end up being 250 grand for an electric.
Well, it will be.
So, yeah.
It'd be easy, 250 grand.
I don't care. I think that's part of it for me. Like,
you were an a Jaguar customer. You're not a new Jaguar customer. They're not going after you and I.
No,
they're
absolutely
going after
not.
a completely different customer now.
Yeah, and you know, that's why they don't care about people being like, you've killed Jaguar, because they're like, well, we're not selling to you.
We're not selling to you, go away.
Yeah, I mean, which could be a huge mistake, but we'll find out. I mean, I'm not going to, I'm indifferent to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not us, is it? It's not
us.
You know,
like, I just don't really. I don't really care.
Yeah, everyone I spoke to about it, all they keep banging on about is the F-Type.
Yeah.
Oh, the F-Type. This is such a great car, sports car. The fact of the matter is, as good as it was, they don't make money. Jaguar. They're propped up by Land Rover every year. Yeah. So it's carry on like that and compete with the Germans, which they never could, by the way, or change it up. Scrap it and change it up, which is what they've decided to do.
I understand the motivation. I think it's, if I'm honest, I think it's the wrong choice. I think it's the wrong choice to do this. Is it the wrong choice?
I'm not sure it's the wrong choice. It's the wrong direction.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I mean.
What they had to change something because what they've been doing forever doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, agreed.
So they've tried to forward think. They're obviously going all electric because at the time, a couple of years ago, when they announced this, that was the pressure from the governments and whatnot. We're starting to see that change, but they're probably too far in and probably thought, well, do you know what? We just got to run with this. We're going to keep going and see what happens.
And I guess the question is, if you were to say, right, okay, so they decided they're going all electric. That's their decision. That's correct. You know, and I think the reason why I'm less emotionally affected by this than many others is I really feel like I had my goodbye with Jaguar. Like, I think I had the opportunity to say adios to the brand that I think we knew and loved.
Yeah.
You know, I worked closely with Jaguar for a number of years. I did that final F-Type iteration. I was briefed endlessly about what was going on with production, the opportunity to go and see the final cars roll off the line, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sitting here being like, what have they done? Because I kind of saw all of this coming. Yeah. It's been, you know, actually a couple of years, this kind of process, and we're still not at a production car. So I think that's why I'm a bit like, you know, whatever, this is the new era and this is not for me.
Yeah.
But what were they going to do? Because if they were like, let's build luxury premium SUVs electric cars for the masses, they're then going to be competing with the Chinese and the Koreans and things like that, which I think is very hard to do today. Or you're going to start to go into a level where you're competing with the European EV market, which I think isn't doing that well, on the Mercedes kind of front, the Audi stuff. Like, I don't think that's flying. So then you're just Jaguar in the same position you've always been in.
Yeah.
Or you go to this high end. My thing is, well, actually, the Spectre's the rival to it, isn't it? But I just don't think people necessarily want 125, 150, 200,000 pound electric saloon cars. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think.
Well, the Spectre's the rival to this concept that we're looking at now, because that's a 2-door coupe. But we think there's a 4-door iteration coming out first.
Yeah.
Which won't be a Spectre. It might be on the same platform, as in not as a Spectre, but it'll be, you know, they'll offer a coupe and a saloon. But
apparently there's never going to be a coupe coming. Okay. Sorry, that's me making landish statements again.
Yeah. But I wouldn't do that, mate.
They're going to put an engine in it. For now, it's just the saloon is what we're talking about.
Yeah, fair. So so that's you know, like I said, that's a spur or
and I guess whilst historic, because people are like, oh, you know, I wouldn't buy this. It's not for me. First question would be, have you ever bought or owned a Jaguar before? Because apparently not enough people did, hence the issues. And as you hit the nail on the head of, like, it's not for us. But then who is it for? Do you know what I mean? Because if you are spending 200 grand on a car, you do, the badge, the brand is important to you, isn't it?
I think that's minimum 200 grand. They just need to, they'll need to take some pain initially, but they're just going to have to, you know, this is the route they've decided to go down. They'll have to stay with it, and they'll have to look at the market. And don't be surprised if there's a Cullinan rival coming on that same platform. There'll be a big... Because, again, a Cullinan would be good with an electric. So like a Spectre, but an SUV. I mean, that'd be all right.
I'm sure that will be coming from Rolls-Royce, don't you?
Yeah, but there's no reason why they can't rival it.
No.
Whether they sell it or not, it's two different things, but...
I guess we have to wait and see.
We've got to wait and see.
We've got to wait and see, don't we? We're about a year away, I think, from seeing the production version or production car. I think there'll be something maybe to see in the new year that will be a bit more production shape-ish.
Yeah.
As I say, I actually quite like the pink, I have to say. I quite like the pink.
Of course you do.
And I do like the side. I do like the side profile, but I mean,
well, there's not a lot to say about the front and back. That's why.
Yeah, the front and back are just blocks.
Yeah, literally.
And the interior is kind of pointless. Like, the front I think is actually awful.
Yeah.
Too big apparently. I love that BBC News are running on the absolute sort of the reaction. And this is the thing.
Well, they have to run on reaction because they don't know what they're talking about.
But whether people buy the final product or whatever, who knows? But Jaguar are smashing it in terms of engagement and reaction at the moment. That is one thing which I'll give to them. Like the fact that we're all sitting here reacting to, talking about, sharing, discussing.
Yes, on the bloody news.
The reels are all flying. BBC News are running a main story over Jaguar's concept car.
Yeah.
Like that is big.
Also, I think because it's a British car brand as well. I think if this come from a German, no one or any of the other, no one would give a toss. They've jumped on it because of, first of all, the first advert that the opinions that caused. And it's a British brand, mate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. And anyone who thinks, Sam's being too nice, he's paid by Jaguar here. He's not going to slag it off.
Not anymore, he's not. He might have been in the past.
Not this new Jaguar. They ain't paying me. But it's not that. Of course, I've got friends there. Of course, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and waiting to see the final product. You all know I love a crap car, and so there's no. I'm allowing myself the opportunity to potentially like the product that gets launched. But I mean, I just don't really care.
Yeah.
Is actually what it boils down to. I don't care about Jaguar's new direction. Really,
it doesn't appeal to us. That's
it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
If they were only making a 4-cylinder, actually the 4-cylinder was quite good. If they were only making
the best-selling car,
an electric F-Type, you know what I mean? Like if Jaguar was still Jaguar, but they were ruining the products. The F-Type, they got the design all wrong of the F-Type and they put a really boring, crappy, unengaging engine in it, then I'd be like, well, Jaguar, I would be way more passionate about it. But this new era, I'm just like...
It doesn't apply to you.
I see it differently.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see if Jaguar survive. That's the question I keep seeing asked. But they're not the only ones that might not survive. I thought we'd do an update on the car companies that I partly own, Tony, because they're all going bankrupt and I'm in trouble. So just a reminder, a few months ago, I invested a very small amount, let's be clear on that,
Luckily.
very small amount in 4 car companies.
Yeah.
This is in collaboration with Swiss Quote Bank Europe. Had that awesome Boxer project. I've just done this amazing thing in Scotland. Anyway, long story short, we thought it'd be fun. We thought it'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
As ever, I have to iterate or reiterate, this is not financial advice. I am no financial expert. I am not a financial advisor.
Just got a few quid.
We're just doing this as a bit of fun to kind of, talk about the car world in a different way.
Yeah.
To view the industry in a way that we don't often do, to analyse the industry in a way we don't often do.
Yeah.
And actually what we're about to talk about is going to lead on to quite an interesting topic, I believe. If you are interested in investing and you want to find out more, Swiss Quote Bank Europe have put together a nice little helpful page, a little sort of landing page, and go check that out. And they are sponsoring these segments, these kind of, an alternative stock watch.
Yeah.
I want full transparency. We're not here to pull the cloak over the eyes. But it is also my money. So I'm like, well, let's keep sponsoring these segments because at the moment I'm losing it hand over fist. So to update you, I had invested money in Ferrari, Aston Martin, Mercedes and BYD.
Right. Ferrari, Aston Martin, Mercedes. Okay, fine.
All of them down over the last 3 months since I invested the money.
All right. Well, 2 will definitely come back.
Ferrari down nearly 5%.
Oh.
Mercedes down nearly 11%.
Yeah.
BYD only 1%.
Yeah.
Aston Martin, 25%.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there.
Well,
I don't know what's happened there. It's classic Aston Martin. It's just what they normally do.
Well, okay. Let's get into this a little bit. There is a sort of, an Aston Martin share price forum that we can engage with, which is that, they were overpriced to start with and they come crashing down and they keep releasing more and it's all a bit of a disaster. But can I tell you, there's one common narrative for all of those except BYD. Well, actually even BYD. That links or is the supposed explanation for all four going down. Do you want to take a stab at what it is?
Well, off the top of my head, if it obviously could be sales. That sales just haven't been as good. That's normally the drive for it. But also, maybe it's cost. Maybe it's new models that have come out and they just haven't got the money back yet.
The one that links all of them, weakening Chinese demand.
Sales then.
Sales.
Yeah.
But specifically to China.
To China.
So, Aston Martin blame a few supply issues, I think specifically around DB12. There's increasing costs that have also been listed. But Ferrari, again, I think they had some issues. But all of them, even BYD,
which is Chinese brand,
leading Chinese brand, and globally one of the top sellers against Tesla for EVs at the moment.
Well, yeah, they're I saw a stat the other day. They're selling more than Ford.
Yeah, they're flying. Hence why I got in, Tony.
They're not making any money.
I'm part owner now. Well, no, there's a time. In general, they're up, I think, but just since I got in, they've gone down.
They're out.
Oh, God. As I say, this is not financial advice. Yeah. But yeah, so I brought up because I was fascinated by this. I was like, okay, is this because China have, changed or been ahead of the times with kind of switching to EVs and their own homegrown products and brands like BYD have stolen a march on the European rivals? Is that what's going on? But no. I don't know if you know this, Tony, but China are going through a weak growth period.
I think they have been for a while. I think they've been struggling for a while, the Chinese
weirdly
economy.
Since COVID.
Yeah.
We all thought, originators, the OG COVID gang.
Yeah, they made it, allegedly.
Well done. Good use of allegedly there. I don't know enough about global economics, but I agree. I believe they've been in a bit of a slump for a while. So this was on Euronews. In a statement, GDP growth in China lost further momentum amid weak consumption, as well as the continued downturn in the real estate sector. So apparently this is the big thing that is affecting the Chinese economy, is the real estate sector is really in a bit of a slump.
Okay.
And so that is affecting, general movement in the market, but of course, cars especially. And it's affecting the overall sales volume in China, including and especially sales in the top end segment. Sales in European vehicles are slowing. Mercedes deliveries in the EU fell by 12.7% in August compared to the previous year, and a 3.1% down during the first 8 months. Now, if you look at the stats, so in 2019, 62% of cars sold in China were from foreign brands and 38% were Chinese brands. Switch that to 2024, so this 5 years later, 56% are Chinese brands and 44% are foreign brands.
Right.
That's a fairly major shift. It's a 20% odd shift in 5 years.
Yeah.
I think is pretty huge.
But if these Chinese brands are making a product that no one's buying, then that's why they're not making any money. And
no, what do you mean? They are buying.
Who?
The Chinese.
Yeah, but they
56%.
Correct, but if they're not making any money, that's what I'm saying.
You're taking my 1% share value lost, or sorry, share value
that's what we're talking
decrease.
About,
but hold on, no, because BYD actual profits, etc. 2024, they are flying. As for net profit, BYD got an increase of 11.6 billion in Q3 2024. While the first 9 months of this year has seen a net profit go up by 18% to 25.2 billion. I believe my 1% loss in share value over the last 3 months.
Well, your shares are going to fly in a minute then.
Well, they have, and in general they have. Year on, I just got in a bit late.
Right.
Got into the hype a bit late. But that's fine. You just watch all these things. We'll be right. So ignore that stat for a minute. You're reading way too much into the fact that there's a little tiny drop in, because BYD are flying. You already mentioned that stat.
Yeah.
So actually what we're seeing here is that in China, firstly, there is a switch to buying more own brand products.
Yeah.
And then
Probably
secondly,
probably price that is as well.
lessening demand overall.
Yeah.
So I was blown away by the fact that China is Volkswagen's single biggest market, accounting for about a third of global sales.
Wow.
But local market share has fallen from 19% to 14%.
Because they're buying their own cars.
With profits in the country halving in the past decade.
Yeah.
I mean, that is major. And of course, like, we know, like, it's not that shocking to say that China's a major player for a lot of these manufacturers, but, you know, it's single biggest market and a third, like, that really is quite major. And we keep talking about, you know, what the future of the automotive industry is going to look like for a lot of our brands. But if they're going to lose that much, sell that much profit,
Better just concentrate on another market, mate.
no, but you say it like it's that simple. That's a third of the sales, mate. Half the profits in a decade to then go, right, we'll just switch to...
But that's what these global brands do, mate. That's literally what they do. The only reason why it's a third of China, because that's what's happened over the last 10 years. Now they've had their run, they'll find another market.
You say this, Tony, but I have to say I think you're wrong here, because what other market rivals China in terms of, firstly, people? You've got to actually... China is the most populated country in the world? I think so.
It's got to be one of them, yeah.
So actual people on the ground,
Yeah.
you know, buying ability previously, you can't just suddenly switch on. And if you go, right, well, US is your second...
Change their strategy, won't they?
But if you say US is your second biggest market, so let's just, you know, let's give up on China.
Yeah, no, they won't give up.
That can not be our single biggest market. We can make that the third or fourth biggest market. Fine, whatever. We can take those hits and we'll increase our production and sales in America instead. But the positioning of European brands right now is struggling in general.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing across the board because of the inconclusive... anyway, because of the uncertainty about future powertrains, it's all over the place. And then you've got in the US, you've got people like Rivian, Tesla stealing market share from the existing brands. So I really don't think it's as simple as going, oh yeah, but they've been through this before, they'll just find another market. Because I think this is we haven't seen this before. We haven't seen suddenly one market in 5 years drop off this rapidly, whilst also other markets are also decreasing.
Well, I would also disagree with that as well, because before China, there was another market, and then there'll be another market after that, and there'll be another market, because there always is. And by the way, it's not just the manufacturing and the our industry. The whole world, mate.
Of course, yeah.
No one's got any money. Everyone's got the ump, and no one's got any money. It's a world problem.
Of course.
So if you look at other brands and other businesses, apart from probably Apple and a couple of others, they're all down because no one's spending any money.
Yeah.
And that's right across the world. So what these manufacturers and businesses will do, these global businesses that turn over billions and billions and make billions, they'll just switch their attentions to somewhere else. That's always happened. Now, whether they'll get that money back, they probably won't, because it's a big part of their market. But they'll just change their strategy.
Of course.
That's what they'll do.
I'm not saying VW is going to go bust next year.
Of course not.
But at the same time, I think the difference now is, you know, if GDP is slow in a country or worldwide, you know, you ride the storm, don't you? Or ride the wave, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And wait for the recovery. But the difference being now is China's switch to their own brands. That's something which, you know, even 5 years ago, but recently they didn't really have. But because of the switch to EV, I do think China specifically have made a march on own brand EV products. And I do think it'll be hard for European brands to fight back on that, because even as the GDP recovers, as the economy recovers in China, and maybe, you know, demand increases, I think the demand will be for Chinese products, not for the European products. So I don't personally see the demand returning for European brands in the short term.
So they'll cut their cost accordingly. They'll cut costs, they'll shut factories, or whatever they've got to do. There'll be more job losses, and it goes round and round and round like that. And then there'll be another market, and then there'll be another opportunity somewhere else. Don't forget, these brands and manufacturers, they've been seeing this coming for 5 years. They already have a plan, mate. They'll go, well, we know this is coming. You know, they've got everything in front of them. we need to address this. And they do, and they will.
But at the same time, you say this, I think there is a lot of stuff which is unexpected. I think they didn't necessarily know about the economic downturn in China and didn't always foresee the growth of own brand products in China. I think as well, the supply chain issues that have continued to thwart automotive wouldn't have always been foreseen. I know very closely a manufacturer that had a major supply chain issue which came out of nowhere and simply halted production. What about the stop sale on BMWs? I don't think they would have seen that coming. And okay, fine, they're back up and running now. But
that's happened before.
Oh, of course.
And that'll happen again.
And we know with Porsche with their wheels,
All the while.
that happens all the while. But what I'm saying, stuff does surprise people. I don't think you can say they always see things coming. They can always plan. I think,
of course not.
It does suggest if across the board in automotive, all of them are saying that weakening Chinese demand is affecting their position and their profits, that suggests it wasn't foreseen. Because, okay, fine, you could say that, oh, well, Mercedes have got their strategy wrong, or Volkswagen got it wrong, or they're switched. But they're all citing this as an issue. If they'd seen it coming, they would have diverted their strategy a couple of years ago so that China wasn't such an important market for them.
A lot of it as well is because, like we spoke about last week, these brands have been made to make a product that no one buys, and now they're seeing the pain.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's happening, and they're in a market in China that that's already very strong with their own products that are probably a lot cheaper. Quality might not be quite there, but the Chinese market might not care about that.
Yeah.
They just might care about price. And maybe these European brands, they can't compete with that, which is why their sales have fallen. But it either comes back, it's always a trend, or they'll change their strategy. Because Toyota have had this before, by the way, where they've struggled with brands and markets around the world, and as well, we saw it even a few years ago in this country where you remember the brand Infinity. I think you worked with them for a bit.
Absolutely.
Well, they pulled out of Europe, because it weren't making any, and that's basically bloody Nissan. So, but I think they're in trouble, by the way.
Nissan, I've seen that. And Stellantis too. But I think the difference being, as I say, like Infinity pulled out because we were not a strong enough market.
Correct.
But I don't think we were ever Infinity's leading market.
No, it would have been America and China, probably.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But now China is not buying any of these brands.
They probably are buying Infinity. Yeah, it's a Chinese brand.
Potentially, but whether Infinity are making the products. I mean, because I think the switch that I see is as I say, is the EV switch, which you're so right, which European brands haven't quite figured out, or Western brands haven't quite figured out. And then the also switch to homegrown brands. Like I say, even American, even if you take America, the growth of Tesla and Rivian and things like that will have also thwarted the potential sales of electric Volkswagen. Even Ford, Ford have got their electric products too. So I think
Ford are in trouble.
Ford are in trouble?
Yeah.
With what?
Their growth, when you look at their growth over a period of time, when you take Tesla as an example, their growth's hardly risen in the period of Tesla, say the last 10 years. Tesla's gone through the roof. But also as well, we see these brands, they have massive spikes because everyone's buying them. But, all these brands, mate, they have their spikes. Yeah. So Ford have had their spike. They've been going for so long, the spikes are harder to get. Same with Ferrari, same with Mercedes, same with all these brands. They all have these massive spikes. And then it can't carry on. It always plateaus at some point.
Ford are fine, mate. Ford are fine. They're over the since 2008, their revenue is $143 billion. 2023, it's 176.
But it's not growing.
You're right.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years, we've got 176 in 2023, 158 in 2022.
Yeah.
That's up from 136 in 2021.
Yeah.
So
and then look at Tesla's. It's literally through the roof because that's the trend at the moment.
Of course, we know that Tesla's, is it still the number one selling?
Number one profit, I think.
Profit or amount of cars sold?
I think in terms of percentage margin, it's right up there.
Cars. Who sells most cars in the world?
For mass, by the way.
Toyota still, theoretically. Tesla is leading the electric vehicle market. That's the thing.
Well, that's what they are, mate.
But of course, but Tesla are a new brand, so of course they're flying.
Oh, yeah.
But I think say Ford are in trouble. I think from those stats is wrong. I mean, they literally the last 2 years they've grown 30 billion.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is what I literally just said. They plateau. So they just get to a point where they stay, you know, and then it's just like a little graph where they're, like you said, they're 30 billion down, they're 20 billion up.
That's the graph.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
So in 2008 that was.
Yeah,
so it's literally
you get Tesla's one up because it's a 15-year-old brand, and it absolutely goes through the roof.
Yeah,
but then Tesla will hit a wall at some point because that's just what happens, and they all do the same. But it's like Porsche have had their they've hit a wall.
Porsche, well, because there's only so many cars that one can sell.
Yes.
So you know, especially if they've been going 60 years, or something like that, an established brand. Of course, you're just at some point you peter out in terms of growth. But therefore, if there's a diminishing opportunity, so you say, you know, Ford have tapped out. You know, one of the biggest companies in the world. They're already selling however many hundreds of thousands of F-150s in America each year, products around the world. They're easily in a bad year they're turning over their revenue is 130 billion. In a good year it's 170 billion. But if you then start to see you're losing Chinese market, you're losing share in Europe, you're losing all these different things, that can decrease like that.
Of course. Well, then they have to cut costs.
They have to cut costs, but
that's what they'll do. Or they'll make something that people buy, because that's what it's all about. But if the punters aren't there, which we see not just in our market, we see full stop. I mean, this country is in a terrible state at the moment. And it's not just this country, it's a world problem. So if punters aren't buying something, the market falls off. And that's happening everywhere, mate, in every industry. It's the way we are at the moment.
I just think that if you are a brand at the moment, as I say, I don't think, I'm not saying at all any of these brands are going bankrupt. No. But even though Nissan is saying that they might, I think in my reading of it is that the landscape has changed from when before one market just went through a bad period and then recovered. I think the recovery may be different now because it's not just weakening economic demand, weakening demand because of economic scenarios. It's also because of the actual competitors, the products. As I say, I think no longer can European brands rely on the fact that they are a European brand. I don't think Mercedes can just be like, oh yeah, well, we just sell cars around the world, like we're fine. China just going through a crap time right now, they'll come back. Because actually I think the difference being is whilst they're going through these turns, there are these new players in the game, the BYDs, the Teslas, the Rivians, the whoever it might be, who are now also stealing market share whilst the old school brands are trying to figure out, well, what do we represent? Yeah,
and I'll tell you what happens as well with these massive powerhouse brands, right? Sometimes they chase volume. The banks do this, by the way. Sometimes they chase volume, sometimes they chase margin. And depending what strategy they tend to adopt in a calendar year or a financial year can affect their profits. And if they get it right, they go through the roof. And if they get it wrong, they come off. So they're the two formulas that they have. They chase margin, to which point, from a car point of view, they'll sell less cars but with more margin in them. Or they'll chase volume, where they absolutely bin them out the door and try and sell and make as many as possible. And the end figure will end up being more than chasing margin. But that's normally all these big powerhouse, and it's all based on bloody turnover. Turnover. And then they have to keep that margin. As your turnover goes up, your margin goes down. It's hard to keep your margin. But the big brands, the big powerhouses, they up their turnover. This is where Ford have probably struggled, because their turnovers roughly stayed the same, all but 20 or 30 billion. And their margins probably stayed very, very similar. if they can increase that turnover and keep that margin, that's how they make more money. And that's literally what everyone tries to do. Yeah, that's the game.
Well, I think I'm going to hold tight. I'm not. I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to sell now. When Lewis Hamilton wins the championship for Ferrari next year, we'll see some Sky. No, I'm joking. I don't think that's going to happen. Aston Martin. The minute Adrian Newey delivers that first winning car for Fernando Alonso. Sell.
It's not just, I mean...
Mercedes, I think I'm really just screwed in general. I think that was a bad decision on Mercedes. I don't really know where my head was at with that.
Yeah.
And BYD will be fine. So.
But Mercedes, I don't think you was ever going to get rich with Mercedes, but
I thought it was like a safe bet.
Yeah, but that's what it will be. Yeah. As a long term, it will be safe because... when you invest in stuff, you should obviously always probably look at long term, and they're just having a bit of a dip.
Yeah,
because, they're making a product at the moment, no bloody bastards buying.
As I say, these were minimal investments, and it is just so that we can have these conversations and talk about stuff going on, and a bit of fun. And I just want to reiterate again. Please, if you're thinking of this, go and do your own independent research. Don't list. This isn't, don't sit there going, I wonder, maybe I should get involved with this. Just go and check everything out. But if you want to read out more, once again, shout out Swissquote Bank Europe. There's a link in the description below if you want to find out what they offer, if you're thinking about it. Anyway, mate, let's look back. What's been a lovely year?
Car crash of a year
for your business. We've been on some adventures. We've
been
had some
every bloody
experiences. What? If you don't know, fine. You can throw it back at me. What have been your highlights, mate? What have you loved this year? It doesn't have to be behind the glass, seen through glass. Like, what are your automotive?
Well, the tours.
The tours, yeah.
Yeah. Easily, mate.
Are they the only trips you've done this year apart from the ring? Because I want to talk about the ring as well.
Yeah.
So you didn't do any other lads trips? You didn't go with your mates, just came on the tours?
No, because one, I haven't had time, and two, like, I fulfilled my itch.
Get your hit.
I got. I've been away with some lads, give it a big and gone back to work.
Portugal feels like a while ago, doesn't it?
Well, you know what done me in, if we're talking about calendar year.
Yeah.
We was in Australia this time last year.
Well, yeah, 13 months ago.
I mean, how quick has that gone?
I saw some people tagging us in
throwback.
And I was like, why are they posting this like 5 years later? I literally was like, God, that's such a long throwback. And then you text me saying, were we in Australia? And I was like, no, mate, 2 years ago. You're like, no, it was last year.
Yeah.
Feels like forever ago.
I know, mate. It's bloody gone so quick.
By the way, our man Josh,
love him.
Hero.
Is he coming to see us?
Currently driving across the Nullarbor, which is the big desert I did in my career. This photo here, Nullarbor Desert in the Carrera T. 4 days from Adelaide across to Perth in an aerial Atom.
Oh, he's lost the plot.
He's actually lost the plot. I said, I think you're going to die, mate. He's like, nah, I'll be all right. I need the car in Perth, so I might as well drive it.
Oh, no, he's lost the plot.
Lost the plot. That was wild. So that was definitely a highlight. We've got to plan another.
Where's he going to sleep, mate?
Oh, he said he's got a mate with a McCann with a roof tent on it. I was like,
no, I'm out.
Yeah. So Portugal, the Portuguese tour feels like a long, long time ago. But that was a pretty sensational way to kickstart the year because it was early on. And the best group, not the best group, that's not the best group, sorry. The most fantastic group of people. Oh. And I have to say, getting my car out in Europe was also scenic. Oh, I have news.
When was it? Was it April or May?
It was April.
Yeah.
I have news about my GT3.
Broken?
No. Oh. Went for a service.
Yeah.
1,600 quid. That's about right.
Bit spiteful. What, second service?
I did
first service.
First service, and then I did a few bits on top of it. Air conditioning and battery for the key fob.
A bit spiteful.
Bit spiteful.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, what can I do? I can't afford it, can I? In January, one of the first things I'm going to do in the new year, it is going to Lichfield to have the ST suspension.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so.
You can get it.
Have you watched much 911 ST content? Probably not,
no.
Right? Every single person I've spoken to who's driven that car and all the official reviews talk about how lovely it is to drive on the road. And Porsche said this in a lot of their materials, I believe, was that the suspension was set up for road driving. That's what the ST is all about. Is the road, not the track. And so they'd kind of reworked the dampers, I guess, just to kind of be a little bit more pleasant on the road. Turns out, it's firmware, it's software. The hardware is the same between the GT3 and the ST.
Well, that's a surprise. It's just not different suspension at all.
I was like, bloody hell, all these cars.
It was never going to be. They're all literally the same, mate.
I literally was like, poor ST owners.
It's just perfect marketing.
ST owners, mate.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So Litchfield are able to do this. So I'm going to go get the car booked in. I just want to understand about my warranty, because I'm assuming that might void suspension warranty. I think, but it's not a change of hardware. I don't know, but
why don't you ask Porsche? I think they'd be fine.
That's what I'm going to do, because I had that drivetrain issue. I just want to, because I don't want anything else falling off the car. Then saying, well, hold on a second, but it is literally software. So,
well, as long as it's
and it's Porsche software.
It's
Porsche software.
Don't see it being a problem. But anyway, why should it be?
So that's exciting.
Same suspension.
So that means for the tours next year of ST suspension on my GT3.
Are you taking the GT3 next year? On
at least one of them, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's just that, for me, that's the perfect use of that car.
Yeah, I'm probably going to use mine, actually.
Yeah, I think, because obviously you bought the M3 on the second tour, which was actually kind of perfect for that trip. But I think what we've got planned for the tours next year, you need to be a bit... Actually, you were pretty fast in the M3s.
I think I'd be all right in the M3 if I ran the M3 on one, to be fair. The only problem is the heat. The brakes and the tyres.
The consumables.
The brakes and tyres. I'd probably go for a set of brakes in the M3 for a couple of tours. So at which point I might as well just be in the GT3 because it'd be fine.
Yeah. I've got some exciting ideas of stuff we could drive and bring. Anyway, so yeah, Portugal was amazing. We obviously had all the Porsche museum bits and the stuff on the second tour, which was, I think, actually, I would say the second tour exceeded our expectations.
I agree.
Yeah,
it was very good.
But not to hark on about how amazing we were doing tours last year or this year. The Ring. I mean, would you say that you fell in love with the Ring this year?
Yeah.
Fully besotted.
No, I always liked it, but
have you got a Ring sticker on the GT3?
No, mate. You're joking.
Well, I've been to the Ring.
No. Obviously, I'll be back there next year. But
will you do season pass?
Yeah, but I'm not sure because I don't know if I'm going to. Mate, we got a lot to do next year.
That's actually a disgusting amount of stuff to do.
We've got so much to do, and I've got work to do, and I want to go on holiday with my family. So I will get out there, but I'm not sure I'll get out there anywhere near as much as I did this year. Yeah, I'm certainly won't be leaving my car out there.
From April to October, I think I have like 2 weekends free next year.
I mean, you're away a lot more than me, but
no, with our stuff.
Oh. But that's going to be the problem.
Live events and tours,
but that's going to be the problem.
Drives and
I'm literally just not going to have time, which is fine. We can go another time.
What was your favourite day at the Ring? Paint a picture.
Oh, mate. I mean,
come on, take us there.
When you're with all your mates, I can think of, because it all blends into one. When you've been so many times, but there was this particular time. That it was the end of the day. It was a beautiful day. The sun was just coming down, and there was about 8 or 10 of us in a train, and we done a lap fairly quickly. All GT car, race spec E92 M3, so they're quick. But that was mega, mate. When you're in a train with 8 or 10, we done 2 laps. And it was absolutely mega. That was the bit that I thought, oh, wow. And even all my pals, when we come back, because it's rare that you get... The laps were clear because it was the end of the day. It was just a beautiful day. There was no hold-ups, no yellow flags. And when you're in a train and you've got 10 fast cars as well, when you're in the middle of it or front or back, wherever you are in it, it's just cool.
Yeah, of course.
So,
of course.
That would have been... That's the moment that sticks out for me.
Coolest car you saw at the Ring?
Oh, mate, it's all just bloody GT3 RSs.
But did you see anything you thought, I'd love to go in that?
Well, I mean, there's a black series that goes round there. There's a couple, actually, but there is a black one that goes round there.
GT black series.
Yeah, and I just have got a soft spot for that car. And I see it go round, and I go, I'd love to have a go round there in one of them. You know, oddly, a few years ago, you'd see many GT2s there. You don't see them anymore.
Oh, really?
Very, very rarely, because they're too bloody fast. That's why.
Yeah. And maybe the mentality's changed about those cars now. You know, people are tucking them away a bit more.
I think so.
The new products have come along, so
Well, the values as well, and it was. They're changing it, by the way. Did you know they're changing the exit? So they're building a new exit so you can get off the track easier.
Oh wow! So you avoid those crazy queues that you see photos of.
Yeah, there still will be queues, mate. Because
but get them off the track a bit more.
Get them off. And you can't. Once you can either stay on. Or
get off.
Or get off. But it's not going to be as easy to come back on, basically.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I have two. I mean, I have lots of highlights from the year. You're right. Tours is right up there. But, you know, because I have a short-term memory these days.
All blends into one.
Such an old man.
That's the problem.
My standouts have got to be the US trip in the Boxster.
Yeah.
Of which I still think I have so much content which I haven't even shared or posted. Like across that, what ended up being 7 or 8 days, I filmed so much and experienced so much. And even the breakdown in Denver was like a vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like I even enjoyed breaking down.
I enjoyed breaking down.
I didn't even tell anyone. The day I was stuck, they were like, oh, it's not going to be ready till the morning. I was giving the workshop such a hard time, being like, come on, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. I'm on this huge project. I said, it's not going to be ready till the morning. I took myself off for like a real slap-up dinner.
Did you?
Yeah, because at that point, I've been on the road for like 4.5 days, just been churning away. And then this was a bit of a like, oh, this is a bit of a not a great scenario if this goes horribly wrong. And I knew there was a big bill coming, and
you increased your spending.
Weirdly, I had some US cash from a trip I'd done like 4 years before.
Yeah.
I just had some US cash lying around, which I'd never converted back. So in my head, it was like free money at that point. So I think I had like $200 in cash. And I just thought, well, what am I? I don't want to sit in a hotel like sobbing, being like, my trip's over. So I Googled restaurant, and I took myself to the steak, like proper classic American fine dining establishment. And there was a Viper ACR out the front, which you won't quite know what that is, but
I know Dodge, what a Viper is.
Dodge Viper, a GT3 RS of the Dodge Viper. Yeah. There was a Vantage F1 edition. There was like a few. I was like, I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had this amazing. Anyways, that was lovely. So, Boxster trip and Car Week. I had an amazing time at Car Week this year. So that whole US adventure shines fairly bright.
Yeah.
Weirdly, the Diablo SVR drive to Germany is one of my real highlights. And I'll tell you why, because it so nearly didn't happen multiple times. So when we first sort of planned it, initially I went to collect the car, and there were a few things that we hadn't quite got ready. There was a fuse issue that meant that the speedo wasn't working, and just stuff that like made me a bit nervous. And in general, I was like, oh my God, am I really going to drive a Diablo race car all the way to Germany?
Yeah.
And then obviously that my first experience of driving it in the UK, like I was like, I got no speedo. I didn't know about the additional cooling fan they put on, so I nearly set fire to myself. Like I was just like, this is really intense. So I was so genuinely nervous setting off on that trip, being like, am I going to make it? If I break down, what happens? If I catch fire, what happens? It was miserable weather, but somehow like it all just came together, and I had a blast, and that car was amazing, and the video was kind of easy to make, and the guys were incredible, and I got like all hyped up and excited. So when I think of like, tell me what you did this year, those are my two immediate go-tos.
Both in piles of shit. Literally.
Yeah. I think I like piles of poo, mate.
Yeah, you do.
It's just like, it's just got way more like
eventful.
Because if you were to ask me like, what's the best new car I've driven? Go on, you can ask me that. You can ask me some questions, mate. Don't feel afraid.
What's interesting in that statement that you've just said? And not at one point have you mentioned the CS, your dream car that you own.
Because I bought it last year.
Well, is that not what we're bloody talking about? Events in the last year?
No, as in I bought it last year, not in 2024.
No.
I won that auction end of 2023.
I know, but you've owned it this year.
Yeah.
And you've not mentioned that you've done anything that exciting in it.
Because I haven't. Because
there you go.
We've been betting it in. Yeah, because this year's literally just been about trying to see when it would break.
Yeah.
I did my trip to Paris in it, which was literally the first.
It didn't break?
Didn't break.
No.
Took it down to Monaco, which was didn't break.
No.
And then it's just been like doing the mechanical work, like getting up and running. Because next year is the big CS year. Yeah,
you just haven't done it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like normally there'd have been a venture that you've done that would have stood out, but
well, it was in the Boxster.
And the SV, clearly,
and the Diablo SVR.
Tours with me.
Yeah, to be fair, because literally the CS trips have just been research trips.
Yeah.
So they've been positive, but they've been research trips. Next year, I think will be dominated. The big adventures will be the CS adventures next year, because I only can fit some of those big adventures in 2 big adventures per year.
Yeah.
And with the tours, that's not even a certain. So I think, that's probably
You'll get one in, mate, easily.
I know one that I'm definitely doing.
Yeah,
that's already booked in.
Yeah.
But
Amelia?
It's not.
Are we doing that next year?
I don't. No.
I'd like to do that in a modern car. Can we do that in a modern car one day?
We did it in a modern car, mate.
No, we didn't, mate. We done it in an old
What
shitbox.
modern car? You want to do the Ferrari tribute again?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, but in a modern car.
The actual Miglia?
Yeah.
You wouldn't like to do a different one somewhere?
You know what I'd like to do?
Modena Centauri.
Where's that?
It's like Italy.
Yeah, that's right.
Or there's one. What's the one through Paris? What's the one? The French one.
What?
Tour Auto.
Is that a good one?
It's like 911 race cars and stuff like that. It's like Rally Monte Carlo type stuff.
Yeah, in Porsches.
Stratoses and everything. It's
Yeah.
that's all the way through. It's like 7 days through France.
Lovely.
It's a commitment, isn't it?
Mate, well, going 7 days through France.
I'm never going to see my daughter.
No.
My wife's going to kill me.
You see her when she's 18.
She can come on the tours with me.
Yeah, she can, yeah.
It would be quite fun to do another one of those adventures. I will admit. I don't know if I could survive it with you. I think I might kill you. You would have to drive if we were to do it again.
Yeah,
and I think there's some charm in doing it in your own car, mate, I have to say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't... As much as I would love someone to come forth and say, hey, would you like to drive my blah, blah, blah on this event... I think it would be more meaningful to do it in a car that we own.
Yeah. Oh, no, here we go.
Let's buy a car together, mate.
We've been buying a car for bloody 6
let's
years.
Do it. 2025. Let's buy a competition car. Let's buy a race car, mate.
And do what with it?
I
know. Let's go racing. Let's get a sponsor and go racing.
No, it's because it's boring.
But
no one cares.
No one cares.
It's so much money.
Let's do
we could do like a 24-hour fun race.
Let's do that.
We could enter ourselves into a race. But I think it would be cooler to go and buy like a 30 or 40 grand Alpha whatever GTA, like not a GTA, but like a
Quadrifoglio.
No, like an old 60s Alpha.
Oh my God.
And then race ready it and then go and do one of those things together in our car. A pagoda. We're coming, lads. Oh, God. Okay, well, watch this space. Plenty, as you can see, we can have plenty of ideas over the Christmas.
I really hope we don't have time to do that.
No. It's been a good year, though, right?
Yeah.
It's been a good year.
What's been the best car you've driven this year? I can't think of one that I've driven.
911K because of what it was.
Yeah.
Revuelto as a 2025 car.
Yeah.
Revuelto. Let me just remind myself.
He's sort of cutting at straws,
I
isn't
like the Spectre. No, I just have a short-term memory, mate.
Yeah, okay.
So let me just literally look at what I've driven
Spectre
this
was
year.
a nice car, wasn't it?
I really like the Spectre.
Yeah.
Okay, so Carrera T, meh. Range Rover Sport SV, meh. New Gran Turismo Trofeo, yeah, like that. Big fan of that. That was I really like that.
Yeah.
As a 70 grand F-Type rival, sick. Yeah, Rolls-Royce Spectre, big one. New Vantage, yeah. Oh, I mean, the Civic Type R was a vibe, but it's always been good. Do you know what I mean? Like Civic Type R has always been good.
Yeah.
488. Oh, 750S. Have to mention 750S.
Wow.
Over the Artura Spider. 750S, I think, is mega.
Fair.
I really think is mega. 911K. Zonda, I'm actually discounting. Obviously, the LAF and the SA Aperta. But SA Aperta, I wouldn't say was the best. Like, it was amazing, but it wasn't the best car I've driven. LAF was, like, obviously unbelievable what it was the second time I'd driven it. Yeah. Yeah, I think Revuelto best, 750S second best, 911K for the vibes,
for the retro,
for the vibes. What
Fair.
about you? What's the best bit of stock you've had?
Don't know, mate. It all
MX-5.
Bloody right, all rolls into one, mate. We'll just sell cars now.
Okay, so last question for you before we wrap up 2024.
Yeah.
What car would you be most excited to drive next year? What car would you be most excited to experience, to witness? If somebody said, I'm coming on one of the tours in a blah, or I called you up and said, Tony, we've been invited to drive blah.
I'd like to drive a Revuelto because you said it's nice and good. I don't know if I'll like it.
I don't think you will, but go on.
I'd like to drive it.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really would like to drive a Valkyrie.
Ooh.
I really would like to, on a track, not on the road.
Okay.
I really would like to drive that car.
Interesting.
I don't know why though, but
yeah, I don't.
Because I don't know, mate. I just want to experience it. You know, it broke the record at bloody Silverstone.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Went round as fast as a GT3 car.
Yeah. Yeah, there's your statement of. But then again, GT3 cars, what, 350 grand, 400 grand or more?
If it's 500,000, it's
$500,000.
tops.
Still a quarter of the price of the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Might as well just buy a race car.
And that's at Silverstone, where probably all the time would have been made up down the straights. Because it would have been way faster than the GT3 car down the straights.
Valkyrie, I'm trying to think. I mean, I haven't had the chance to even. Actually, I have sat in a Valkyrie, that's a lie. But I haven't even had the chance to be in a passenger seat of a Valkyrie. Do we know anyone with a Valkyrie? Oh, I do know someone with a Valkyrie. John. John's got Valkyrie Spider.
John? Where are you?
John, we're coming for the Valkyrie Spider, mate.
Come on, John. Let's go to Silverstone. In the Valkyrie. I promise I won't put it in the wall.
I message John, see if we can drive the Valkyrie. I think he's going to say no.
Of course he is going to say no. But
I'd say no.
Please,
as well.
mate.
Please.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of John, TWR Supercat. Oh, I want to have a go in that.
I saw that car, yeah.
What did you think of that?
Fair play to him.
I love everything on paper. For me, if I'm brutally honest, the looks are too much.
It just doesn't float my boat. As in, it's not for me. But obviously, I know John. I like John, and fair play to him for doing it.
I think it will. He will sell more than he can make.
Yeah, fair.
I think the recipe is delicious.
Yeah.
I think the premise is superb. I love everyone involved. I know that they'll smash it dynamically. I just wish that there was a dialed down exterior pack. For me, it's a step too far.
In your face.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm an old man.
Yeah.
You know, and
not
to be,
really, but you're not even middle-aged.
If I saw a dark blue and tan interior one, maybe I'll be like, oh, that's the one for me. Maybe it's just the launch spec. But I know, having spoken to John and the team before, to drive, it is going to be right up my street.
Fair.
So actually, that's for me, that one is right at the top of my list if I get lucky enough to have a go in that. Valkyrie, you're not wrong. Any of those big hitters, AMG Project One, that'll be all right to have a go in, wouldn't it?
Yeah. If you can get one at work.
Get one of those. And the Renault 5.
I'll tell you another car I'd like to have a go at.
Go on.
The McLaren W1.
Oh, yeah.
I want to have a go in one of them.
Yeah. Oh, and Dodici Cilindri for me. Did you watch... Sorry, we're rambling now. Did you watch Jethro's piece on Dodici Cilindri versus the new Vanquish?
No.
Mate, have a look at that.
Really?
Fascinating.
Right.
Based on our chat about Ferrari recently, fascinating.
Right.
So it's well worth a watch. I think Aston are making good moves at the moment.
Yeah.
I think Aston are making a good
Not
move.
the share price suggests it. But
No. Worryingly for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could go on for hours.
I actually, apart from the DBX, there's actually not a car that I don't like Aston Martin are making at the moment.
So I've got DBX 707 on loan in the new year because it now has all the new infotainment in it.
Oh, I'll probably like it then.
I think
it'll work.
And everyone has always said the 707 is amazing to drive, and weirdly, value-wise, they hold quite well comparatively because the original standard DBX is now like what, 80 grand?
Yeah, it's unbelievable car for 80 grand. All right, you got to get over the infotainment bit, but you're sitting in an SUV V8 bloody Aston Martin.
And it wasn't just the infotainment on those original cars. It just was underwhelming compared to the rivals and for what, it was underwhelming.
Yeah.
And it sort of fell short of your Bentegas, your top-level Range Rovers, your Cayenne GT. Yeah. It just fell short. But the 707 has always been...
Not 80 grand, though.
80 grand.
Now they're 80 grand. They're bloody good value.
They are good values, I guess. Anyways, I'm intrigued by that. So, I would have agreed to you up until that point, but I think I'm going to like that DBX 707 with all the latest tech and stuff. All right, shall we wrap it up?
Is that it?
Shall we finish it?
Should we go on holiday?
Oh, let's go on holiday, mate.
Let's go. By the way, we're not going together.
No,
we're going separately.
Thank God.
And he's going for loads longer than me.
It would be much nicer to take a break from you than it would be from this podcast. I've actually got a few more videos to make before I go, so we're not going anywhere that short. But anyway, we're wrapping things up, ladies and gentlemen. That is 2024 Behind the Glass done. As I say, we'll be back with you in the new year for lots of excitement, develops and movements. 10 years of Seen Through Glass. I'm in my 10th year. It'll be the 5th year, I guess, of the show. Anyway, lots of things that we'll be moving forward with and having fun with. We can't wait to see you there. We're going to have someone joining the team. That's going to be exciting, isn't it? The tours, all these things to come. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. If over the winter break you're missing us, you're missing our voices, there's plenty of episodes here to go back to. Go look at the back catalogue.
Yeah.
We've got so many old episodes from yesteryear.
Put it on series link. Have a day out.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much to catch up on. So go back and check us out, and then you can let us know in the new year what your favourite episodes you rediscovered were. But in the meantime, if you want to follow Tony, he's at Tony Gravelwood Car Sales on most social media platforms. He'll still be trying to sell cars over Christmas. So if you win the Euro Millions, give him a call. You can follow me at Seen Through Glass, although I might not be posting that much over Christmas. I think I'm going to be deleting Instagram off my phone. And we will see you right and ready 2025 in January. See you then. Bye-bye.
See ya.